So, just a bit of context before this video starts. I read every single comment and reply I get on my videos and reply to quite a few of them in turn. This much, of course, is evident by just looking at one of my comment sections. And on my Twitch streams, I often have a segment where I pull up comments that intrigued me and I have something to say about, and go over them with chat. It's normally just a funny thing, looking at funny comments and talking about my videos, but sometimes I get a really mind-bogglingly dumb comment. This video is basically just a segment of one of my recent streams where I went over one such dumb comment and talked about it with chat. I figured I may as well post this because I find it funny and I think others would too, and it never hurts to have an extra video every now and again. Definitely let me know what you guys think of what this dude had to say, as I'm interested to hear it. Also, I feel like this should go without saying, but don't go looking to harass this guy over a comment. That's just being stupid. But with that out of the way, grab some popcorn and strap in, because this is a doozy, and I kind of lost myself in a rant here. Enjoy. The comments on the recent video are what is a bit weird, so if I exit out right here. So I'll get to this in a second. But first, let's sort by newest. So this guy, Dualities, right? He comments, "Remember Final Fantasy from PlayStation 2? Turn-based competitive combat, fun times. You are making this game into a dungeon crawl for anime-only fans. You sleep on PvP and social updates. You use 20-year-old patterns, like subscription and tab targeting combat. And you wonder why your game is not getting popular. Come on." First off, I didn't mention anything about the game being popular or not. I mean, what the fuck does this have to do with this video? If you want to fix your game, because this guy, he's the peak of intelligence. He doesn't understand capitalization. Instead of putting YOU, he just puts a simple U. So evidently he's 12. Fix your game, add in some skill shots and dodges to make it hybrid combat. So in other words, he wants to get rid of tab target combat. Add the ability to tame open world monsters to have them as a mount. Make open world raid bosses where guild and players fight for them. Make a good 4v4 map. Add chat bubbles. Instead of important updates, we get Shemale class option. What the fuck, man? I'll go into my response in a second, but first let's check what Vento said, because MMO population. It says at the moment that World of Warcraft is the most popular game, but if we look at the average players, yeah, because this is player count, like the average daily player count. World of Warcraft has 1,092,823. 14 at the time, right now, has 1,956,559 average people logging in every day. So, in terms of average player population by day by day, we are by far the biggest game. So, yeah. But back to that dude's comment. So, let's just break this down. I don't know, I just wanted to kind of go over this on stream, because this was a weird comment that I've been confused by since he did it. Like, since he put it in. And it was 14 hours ago, so yeah, it was today-ish, around 7 a.m. Remember Final Fantasy from PlayStation 2? When did the PlayStation 2 come out? PlayStation 2 came out more than 5 years before I was born. So no, I don't remember Final Fantasy on PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 console is older than me by 5 years. Shemale is a pretty transphobic term as well. Not surprised that transphobic would be stupid. Yeah, I didn't really see. Like, I just brushed it off. I don't really know what he mean. I think he was talking about male Vieira. I can't think of any other thing. Unless he's talking about dancer as a job. Are 10 and 12. And 11, technically. Let's check that. FF10 release. Okay, this game is more than 4 years older than I am. FF12 release date. Okay. This one, I was about 5 months old when FF12 released. Because I definitely know that I was definitely playing Final Fantasy 12 at 5 months old. You're a baby compared to me. I'm a baby compared to most people who play 14. He's absolutely talking about male Vieira and male Mikote being... I'm not going to say that word. I don't know, man. I have no clue what he's talking about in that, and honestly, I don't care. Turn-based competitive combat. Fun times. Okay, I may have not played them, but I know that 10, 12, and 11, the 3 PS2 era Final Fantasy games, they have turn-based combat-ish, but not a single one of them has competitive combat. Came out the year I was born, so you're only like 7 years older than me. Big deal. Big fucking deal. That makes you like 22, 23. Big fucking deal. Not that big of a difference. 24? Fun time. Okay. There's no FF game with turn-based competitive combat, like a mainline FF game. Fun times. Well, you must have been tripping on something. You are making this game into a dungeon crawler for anime-only fans, so he's relying on the stereotype that 14 is a weeb game. Okay. He may have been talking about tactics. Even if he was talking about tactics, it's a single-player game. There was some online stuff, but, I mean, it's a single-player game. You sleep on PvP and social updates. We get social updates all the time, and we sleep on PvP because the PvP in the game is bad, and honestly, people who play PvP don't play Final Fantasy XIV. Or people who play Final Fantasy XIV don't play FF14 for the PvP. That's just all it is. Maybe FF11? Yeah, but even still, FF11 I don't even think had PvP. I think an idiot who didn't know anything about 14. Oh yeah, 100%. See something moron. Nice typo there. You use 20-year-old patterns. If he's referring to MMO baseline, he's actually correct. But I don't think you'd call that patterns. I think you'd call that systems. Like subscription and tab target combat. Listen, I'm a broke-ass teenager, right? But even I know that subscription is by far and away the best way for an MMO to be in terms of its revenue structure. Because you don't get as much of a shill out with Cash Shop, and there's no, like, premium stuff. It's not like, oh yeah, it's free to play, but if you want to actually do shit, and if you want to go into more than 4 dungeons a day, yeah, it's going to cost you. PvP isn't bad, just Frontline Daily is terrible. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't jumped into PvP all that much. I'm mostly going by what people tell me. 14 PvP is pretty fun. I mean, you've only played a small bit of it. But yeah, I don't mind it. It's just that it's like, it's not the PvP that you'd expect from an MMO. Like, I don't have a problem with it, but in terms of MMO PvP, it is pretty lacking. And tab targeting combat. It's a tab target combat game. So yeah, and tab targeting is by far and away the most reliable, most refined, and overall the most skill-based, on average, combat that are in MMOs. And you wonder why your game is not getting popular. I mean, we've already seen that. It's the biggest MMO in the world. It's the biggest fucking MMO in the world. In terms of the kind of game it is, it literally can't get any bigger. It is the #1 spot. The problem is that people have been scared off from MMOs. And a lot of people don't at the same time. Like, MMOs in their heyday, it was a bunch of fucking teenagers and neckbeards. People with no real obligations and no real social lives. Like, come on, dude. The thing is, people of my age aren't getting into MMOs. And as much as that sucks, it is the way it is. And, like, I'm trying to get my friends into it, but it's not like they're just gonna... It's not like it's just gonna cause a revolution. Like, you need something bigger. Most PvP interactions, frontline, where everyone goes to be sure of it. It's actually PvP. It's very different, more tactical and team-based. Yeah. Come on. First off, if you're gonna do come on, capitalize the C here if it's the start of a sentence. You need a little apostrophe there. And come on isn't a sentence. If you want to fix your game... Listen, I hate going into the whole fucking thing of like, oh my god, 14 is a perfect game, please, everything about it is perfect, because it's not. Like, it just straight up, it isn't a perfect game. It's a really fucking good game, but it's not perfect. Like, there's nothing straight out that I can think except making the PvP better. And, like, I'd love to have open world PvP, I'll just say that. But if they improve the PvP, that would literally be the last thing on my mind that you'd have to fix. Other than there's some quirks that get worked out and some that get added in every expansion. Add in some skill shots and dodges to make it hybrid combat. Okay, skill shots? What does he think this is? Does he think this is a fucking FPS? Is that what he thinks? Or is he meaning like big attacks? Because if so, I mean, Paladin at the end of its rotation has Confiteor. You can't get much bigger than Confiteor. It's the final power move. So you don't have to progress through the MSQ to I don't know. It, like, FF14, I actually like that about the game. Hybrid combat. I'm just going to say this. In MMOs, rarely, if ever, does it work. Rarely, if ever, does it actually feel good to play. Like, ESOs isn't bad, but that's action combat. That's not even hybrid. What the fuck are they screaming about? Anyway. Add skill shots and dodges. Like, man, if you're looking for that, you're playing the wrong fucking game. If you're complaining about that not being in FF14, you're just straight up playing the wrong fucking game. Add the ability to tame open world monsters to have them as a mount. This I actually think would be cool. But at the same time, it's like, if all you need to do is right click and use an ability, there'd be no real fun to it. Like, I have no problem with them reusing. Here, I'll just tab into the game for a second. I have no problem with them reusing the actual game assets as mounts. Because, like, look what they did. Both the Antelope Doe and the Antelope Stag, both added with the most recent patch. They're both just reskins. Not even reskins. They're both they're both mob models that they just made you mounts. And honestly, I love that. But the good thing about them is that, and with the mounts in the game in general, you don't just get them for walking up and right-clicking on it. You actually have to work for it. There's something to it. What even is hybrid combat? I think he just threw that out. Sounds smart. Yeah, I don't think he truly understands what hybrid combat is, because there is hybrid combat MMOs. But what he described isn't. Like, hybrid combat is a mix of action and tab target. So hybrid combat is something like ESO. It's something like New World. It's something like Terra. It's like you have all your normal tab target abilities, but on top of that, you're constantly left-clicking or right-clicking or doing more action-based combat things. That's hybrid combat. Simply adding in some skill shots and dodges does not make it hybrid combat. Like, okay, that's great. If I hold down Alt and I press... I held down Alt and I pressed spacebar and I rolled forward. That wouldn't make it a hybrid combat game to begin with. But anyway, moving past this. Make open world raid bosses where guild and players fight for them. That's, you know what? I have no problem with that as a concept. But that is not what FF14 is as a game. That is not what it is. Like, flat out, that's not what it is. It's a very PvE focused game more than anything. That's literally all it is. Like, make open world raid bosses where guilds and players fight for them. There are open world bosses, like overworld bosses. I don't know why I'd call them open world raid bosses. I think that's a bit of a contradiction. But where guilds and players fight for them, like fight for the chance to fight them. Okay, great. Whatever. That's not a bad concept, but that's not what FF14 is about. And honestly, I don't want them going that direction. I think it'd be cool in like a small instance area reminiscent of Boja. But on a larger scale, I just don't think it would work overall. Make a good 4v4 map. What the fuck is he referring to? Is he talking about PvP? For the Feast is fine. Is that literally what is he just talking about Feast? Is that literally all he's on about? I think a tamer cost would be cool to get enemies as mounts. I've seen all the mounts with someone would be cool. Yeah, that was Beastmaster in 11, I think, is basically what you just described. And they might add that to the future, but, I mean, pets are in a pretty precarious place in terms of FF14's combat right now. We'll see what happens with Endwalker. Make good 4v4, I don't know. Add chat bubbles. You know, I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind the idea of, like, having chat bubbles above people's heads. But honestly, I feel like that's way too much clutter. Like, on screen. I'd probably have it disabled, because it all just shows up in your log anyway. Like, big fucking deal. I don't understand why he He has things that he's saying here. Huge fucking system changes. Like, flipping the game on its head, basically building a new game. And then he adds, oh yeah, and chat bubbles. You know, I want those too. They're a completely different level of complexity. Limsa with chat bubbles? Yeah, that'd be terrible. You'd have to be forced to see the degeneracy. You couldn't just look away from the bottom left. Instead of important updates, we get Shemale class option. What the fuck, man? We are getting important updates every single patch. We get new raids. We get new systems. We get new content. We get everything that players want. That's the one thing about 14's development team. They give us what we want. And they're very accommodating to it. Shemale class option? I don't even know what the fuck the context is behind the word shemale. I'm not going to pretend I do. But what I think it is just like, oh yeah, it's basically a girl who looks like a guy or something along those lines. Like, big fucking deal. Let people play what they want to play. I personally think that it was too soon to add male Viera in 6.0 if they're not going to fix the fucking system around the hairs and fix that kind of shit. Because honestly, that's what people want. Like, I understand that it takes a bunch of finicking, but there are some systems fundamentally that are broken. Like, Rothgar having to pay $10 to change their fucking hair. Like, come on, dude. Just put that under Crystal Bell. I understand that it's a different model, but still, those systems need to be fixed first. But that's besides the point. If they add that, if people want them, and then they want to play as that, big fucking deal. Let people play what they want to play. Like, I guarantee, a lot of people see my character and they're like, oh, it's a fucking elf. I hate elves. I like elves, so I play an elf. I wouldn't play a cat boy, but if someone wants to play a cat boy or a bunny boy, who the fuck am I to stop them? If it's in the game, who cares? That's an important update to people. Because there are people that really want to play that. So let them play it. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, players have been asking for male Viera. Players have been asking for male Viera and Viera in general since before 5.0. Anyway, so this guy has 0 brain cells. We've established this. And I replied to him. Did you mean to comment on this video? Because, like, everything he said here is completely fucking detached from a video of me introducing my friend to the game, right? Completely detached. So I said, did you mean to comment on this video? Because maybe he meant to comment on something that actually was having a discussion about things. Then I got a bit more hands-on, and I said, or are you so desperate for someone to read your bullshit that you were commenting it everywhere? Yeah, because this is the kind of shit that you copy-paste and spam on videos. I mean, I guess what he's wanting, if that is what he wants, and he made it, oh, good job, Mew. If that's what he wants, then, well, he's getting it, because I'm literally going through it on stream in front of 8 people, tearing it apart, and I might post it to YouTube later, I don't fucking know. But, and I then just said, if it's the latter, I guess you succeeded, and I lost some brain cells. Sorry, the rest of you here also lost some brain cells today. And I just said, sad day, to mock him saying, fun times. I said, I could rebuttal literally everything you said, but I really don't have the patience to type all of that. Just straight up being fucking dismissive. But you see, he didn't just stop there. Boys, he didn't just stop there. At all. Because, you know, why would he? Why would he? So, Digital Storms commented. The top comments on the video, right? I say you keep dragging your friends into this game until we run out of server space. You know, it's a funny comment, because people really enjoy the videos where I bring my friends in. And then I joked back, and we form a mighty FC to control the server economy. Ha ha ha. Flatbread will become our cryptocurrency. I don't know what the context behind this is. Frankly, I don't care. I just said my piece. They had a little thing here about, like, talking about crypto. And then, our good friend Dualities decides to leave another comment. And, well, would you believe it or not, it's literally copy-pasted from his other comment. As well, too. Yeah. Yes. I don't want to make myself look like an idiot. Honestly, like, I just can't. I'd have to be so cautious about it. I just type properly. Anyway, he said, remember, we read through this a second ago. I'm not going to read it again. So Zhang, this is a guy that comments quite a bit on my videos. Seems to be a good guy. He's come to my defense when people have gotten mad at me. I like this commenter. He says, can you please elaborate on fight for them, as in competitive? Because in 14, there are already world bosses where everyone can mob it and share the prize depending on how much contribution they make. How much of a I'm not going to grammar narc. I think Loki has made a video about it. Yeah, the Hunt Train video kind of covers that stuff. Not entirely, but on a baseline level, yeah. Something with Hunt in it, yeah, Hunt Train. I have to say, though, that it is not as popular as Trials or Raids, at least to my knowledge, so there's not plenty of videos about it. Yeah, it's more like a kind of grind content people do to get out of the way. Other than Hunt, 14 also has fates where some are only a fight against one enemy. Odin comes to mind. Yeah, so world bosses. Like, those are the world bosses he's talking about. Like, this is a completely reasonable comment. Yeah, Muse back there. So this is a completely normal thing to say. Like, he points out, I made a video about it, about that kind of stuff, and like, this is a right here, I think he hit the nail on the fucking head, whether he meant to or not. This dualities guy wants you to fight for them. Meanwhile, in 14, it's about fighting with your other players against the boss. It's a different system. It's a different crowd. It's a different goal. But anyway, moving on to his response. He said, completely competitive spirit / rivalry. What the fuck? You know, normally when you put something / something, they're related. A competitive spirit is like, oh yeah, it's in a spirit of being competitive, or you're a very competitive person. A competitive rivalry is, well, that's just two or more groups feuding with each other and trying to outdo the other. That is basic definitions of it. So, competitive spirit / rivalry, two very different things and two very different systems if they came to fruition. But we'll just say, like, he's saying, oh yeah, just give us one or the other. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt there. Guilds competing for an actual raid boss. I hate to tell you, raid bosses don't exist outside of raids. You have elite enemies. Like, look at WoW. You have elite mobs. Look at 14. You have ranked mobs that are ranked by their actual toughness, and you have giant boss fates. Players fighting to contest raid boss or contest. Once again, that is not the proper definition of that word. If it's either contest or contest, both are the wrong definition. Okay, great. Whatever. To contest raid boss. I don't even know what the fuck. How am I supposed to wrap my head around that? Yeah. This is what your game misses. First off, the grammar here is shit. Secondly, he just admitted he doesn't play the fucking game. Why do I care what he has to say when he doesn't play the game? Like, seriously. This is a 15-year-old idea. Yeah, okay, good for you. It's a 15-year-old idea. ArcAge was amazing because of that. Oh yes, ArcAge, the game that has been in fucking decline since it released. ArcAge had potential. But the game was dead on arrival due to bullshit its publisher did. Like, it was all on its fucking publisher. And it's been in a state of decline ever since. You don't compare the biggest MMO in the fucking genre. The biggest game in the genre. To a fucking game that's been in a state of managed decline since it came out. Like, holy shit. Not to mention, guys, ArcAge aims at a completely different fucking crowd. FF14 is very casual friendly, and it caters to all levels of players. ArcAge, if you don't know life it, you may as well not play. And if you don't have money to throw at the game, well, you may as well not play either. You know what I think? Yeah, an ArcAge Elite is not even a respectable game like WoW or ESO. Yeah, like, what's ArcAge's current player count? I'm curious. MMOs. Full list. Oh, never mind. We're on the full list. Let's find Arcade on here. Arcade. Average players, 42,251. Doesn't even have a tenth of the daily players 14 does. That speaks volumes about the game. Blackbeard's Online is best. BDO is good until you reach endgame. Players fighting each other for the opportunity to fight the raid boss. Yeah, but once again, it's like, I don't mind that idea as a system, but that's not how FF14 is. FF14 doesn't go for that crowd. Like, I'd rather go in with a giant group of players from all over the server and from different servers, all going down to this one raid boss, killing it, doing all the mechanics in a place like in the Tempest, looking out at Armor while you fight. Man, that is such a... Those moments are, to me, when you reach the very pinnacle of what 14 has to offer in terms of overworld combat. When you have throngs of people all convulsing on one enemy. Like, just, it's like, it's not even fair to the enemy, but it's so fun and so spectacular, and that's the peak of the game in its actual zone gameplay. You're asking to completely change the system. That makes it so great. But of course, this is my own opinion, so whatever. Videos just made me want to play 14. Honestly, this trash comment is reminding me more and more of SAO. Yeah, it is kind of SAO-ish. You have raid bosses, yes, but you don't have players or guilds fighting for them. That's not the point of them, though. Like, Jesus Christ, man. That's not the point of them. God damn it. Just straight not the point of it, like, at the very baseline. So, this guy replies, "Oh, I think I understand. It sounds fun." And you know, it does sound fun, like, fighting for raid bosses, that's great. I just don't think it has a place in 14, personally. But I think the dev doesn't implement it because they target casual players more. And once again, Jean David hits it on the fucking head. I guess if they implement it properly and maybe it turned into a seasonal event and broadcasted live like esports. I don't think I've seen a PvE-based esport. There are PvE-based esports, but I understand what he's saying. It's like erased world first, kind of. Like, this is a cool idea. Like, if they turn it into a limited or broad or like esportish event, like a seasonal event, like confine it to something like Boja, where you have like separate clans and stuff. I think that'd be really cool. Like, honestly, just think about this now. I think that'd be really cool if we're eventually going to get an expansion that goes to the new world. I think it'd be really cool if you could form like separate clans there. If you could form like separate clans within the new world, and it's like this giant open world PvP battleground where in your clan you fight against the other. You fight against other clans to try and like rank up like on a leaderboard, take down enemies, and you have to fight the other clans for them. I think that would be really cool. But I don't want to see that implemented everywhere in 14. Man, one of the things I love most about 14 is that they don't... I hate most... Oh, never mind, love. Oh, my bad, I cannot read. The thing I love most about 14 is that they don't care at all about PvP. I hate PvP, and not having it be any kind of focus is great to me. Yeah, to each their own. I mean, I'd like to have some PvP. Would I play it? Probably not. How's it going, analogy? Well, duh, FF14 caters to the casual player. Yoshida legit said in an interview that he'd rather people let their sub lapse and take a break than get burnt out from playing. Yeah. Like, actually. I'm losing brain cells. Every player can enjoy it regardless if they are casual or not. Like, as I said earlier, once again, he hits it on the head. There's something for all kinds of different players. Like, if you like PvP, there is PvP. But, like, you have your casual players, you have your hardcore players. There's something for all of them to enjoy. And it's right there for them. Maybe they can even add that activity in FanFest too, like as a competitive thing. You know what, this guy... Man, I love this commenter. He's fucking great. Or she, I don't know. I'm gonna bet it's a he because it's like 80% male in my audience. But, like... I think that'd be really cool. He's trying to, like, say, oh yeah, that would be a cool idea and this is how it could be done. Like, hey, he's being civil. Hey, I just remembered that they have. Yeah, exactly. It was during the Who Wants to Be a Gillionaire section. Hopefully they can develop it further. Nice idea for sure. Yeah, it was that event with all the English content creators. Yeah, that was cool, but it's a different thing than what I think he was. Well, I'm the 20%. Yay! Congratulations. Yeah. Like, the Who Wants to Be a Gillionaire thing was cool, and I think it would be cool if they added, like, a little mode where you go up against another group of players. Like, you have 2 raid parties fighting the same thing, and whoever beats the boss first wins something. I think that would be really cool, or gets, like, a higher reward or a penalty type thing. I think that would be cool. But I don't understand why they'd add that. Reading Duality's next comment in already. Yeah. Next comment to Tijong. Yeah. I'll move on to what I responded. I responded to him when he said this combat. I said, but that's not what FF14 is about. It's a very different kind of game to stuff like ArcGauge and even WoW. There's no PvP outside of a few limited instances, and there is no competition systems between guilds other than GC rankings. 14 is a PvE game 100%, and that's what it's been for 10 years, and that is what it'll be for the next 10. You can't just change the design philosophy so drastically when you have over 20 million players that came for the thing on offer. 14 is the biggest MMORPG in the world now, as it overtook WoW in a player population a little while ago. In the MMO space, 14 is as big as it gets. You know what? It might be because I commented this, but I don't see any problem with this one. And then, yeah, his next comment. I forgot about this one. Shit. But FF14 was never only a PvE game. It's always been a PvE game. Like, what is he on? Never only, but that's pretty much what it is. I mean, you just ignore the PvP. Remember turn-based combat from PlayStation 2, Final Fantasy X-2? So he's now talking about X-2. That's great and all, but what the fuck does Final Fantasy X and X-2 have to do with Final Fantasy XIV? Like, what the hell is he saying? I don't know. I don't know, analogy. I don't know. Like, 14 was never only a PvE game. Sure, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, oh yeah, he's talking about PvP. Whatever. But then he brings up a PlayStation 2 turn-based Final Fantasy game. What did X-2 come out? FF10-2 release date. When did X2 come out? X-2 came out in 2003. 14 wouldn't come out for another 7 years. On a completely different system, with a completely different genre, with a completely different design philosophy and team. The only similarity between the two is that they share the Final Fantasy name. He's saying that Final Fantasy as a whole was never PvE only. Final Fantasy as a whole has, like, the mainline games, other than the MMOs, have been PvP, except for that weird shit in 15, it's been solely PvE. Yeah, that's all I can think of either. They're single-player games mostly. Yeah, like, all the mainline games are, and except for the MMOs and the DLC of 15. There was PvP in 15. There was, like, co-op. I think there was a bit of PvP, but I think... No, that was PvE. Never mind. 15 didn't even have any PvP. Watch PS2 Long Play 69, Final Fantasy X-2, Part 1 of 9. Why the fuck would I watch that? So what he replied to Zhang, you know how Zhang mentions, like, oh yeah, there's casual players that they cater to. So this fucking retard says, there is no such thing as being casual. You either want to win or you don't. You know, this might come as a surprise to him. We don't play a competitive game. There's no FF14 esport. It's not about winning. All it is about completing the fucking content. Like, I play Paladin. I don't parse great. I'll be the first to tell you that. And someone, let's say I clear E9S. Another person clears E9S. I parse a 25, they parse a 99. Well, you know what? We both cleared the content, so in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't fucking matter. I won, they won. They beat the boss, I beat the boss. We both got the duty complete sign. Like, you either want to win or you don't. It's like people will set different goals for themselves. That's all about what an MMO is. The minute that you set goals for other people, you're no longer in an MMO. Like, Jesus Christ. The closest thing to an esport 14 has and ever will have is the word world first race. Yeah. Like, unless Feast becomes some huge thing overnight, that is going to be what it is, and it's PvE. Just makes me think of SAO Abridged. You want us to win in MMO? Essentially, fuck you. Yeah, you can't win in MMO. Because the whole thing about MMO is you set a goal for yourself. You achieve that goal, good for you. But then there's another goal for you to achieve. The whole thing about MMO is that it's supposed to be a game that you can play forever. Oh my god, let's keep going. It has nothing to do with game mode, game design, or balance, or whatever. It has everything to do with game mode, game design, and balance. It has everything to do with it. It has literally everything. Game mode. PvE and PvP are two very different things. In a PvP game, one team wins, one team loses, unless there's a draw. Like, if I win in PvP, that's great. But in PvE, everyone can win. It's just a matter of clearing the content. So game mode is very important. Game design. If he's speaking like design philosophy and the actual core game design, same thing as with game mode. And balance. Well, the whole thing about class balance is pretty important. I don't even need to go into that. I didn't make the artificial fishing pole to win. Yeah, exactly. You don't spend 10 hours crafting a fucking fishing pole to win. I didn't just finish my entire Anima and Zodiac lineup to win. I completed one of my many goals. Yeah, exactly. It's self-defined goals. That's the beautiful thing about an MMO. Also, ability to tame open world monsters as your mount. Okay, he's just going over the same thing. Like, why? Also, ability to tame... Like, once again, this would be cool. But I like actually having to work for the mouse. I don't like just walking up to them, right-clicking them, or using some item on them to get them. Like, maybe for a few, but not all of them. Guilds fighting for bosses. We already went over that. Chat bubbles. No, I don't want that. That sounds stupid. And I think most people say, like, what's the big deal? Why are you throwing something so minor in with such big changes? Good 4v4 map. I don't know anything about Feast. But this guy doesn't even play the game. He's pretty much already admitted it. Small text font option. I'm like 99% sure the game has that. And at worst, you just like go into your UI and size down things so they do have a smaller text option. So, yeah. Updating combat. Sorry, I pretended that he had good grammar. Make it hybrid action combat by adding skill shots or dodges. Oh my god. You know what, I'm just gonna... This part is garbage. Like, that's not what hybrid action combat is. Reducing 2.5 second global cooldown. Let's just go back into the fucking game real quick. So I'm going to show you one great thing about this game. About, oh yeah, the 2.5 seconds global cooldown. Right? Big deal. You know, how can it be exciting when every 2.5 seconds is the only time you can actually use fucking abilities? Like, look at this. Let's go through a Paladin rotation, which is arguably one of the slowest rotations in the entire game. So I may have my 2.5 second GCD, but you see, I have a whole bunch of things in between. Like, I go Riot Blade, into Fast Blade, Fighter Flight, then I go into Goring Blade. You see, it's not a big deal, but in between that, I have many GCDs to manage. I have Spirits Within, I have Circle of Scorn. I have to keep up my GCD in between all those and not cause any weaving or buffering or buffer issues. I always need to keep them rolling. Like, they're on cooldown right now, but I still have to worry. Like, as a tank, I have to worry about everything going on around me. That's why I have all these different abilities. I take a lot of damage, or something's about to happen that I want shields for. I pop Holy Veil, Divine Veil, to give me a bit of an extra go. But here, right here, I have to throw out my dot. I have to manage the GCD. Then I go into my spell phase. And you see, on top of that, I have GCDs within my spell phase I still have to manage. And, like, even within that, I have 2 different spells that I can use. And then I finish it off with a Confidier before doing that whole thing again. I have Stun. Dude, all these abilities on my hotbar are all needed. And the 2.5 second GCD may fucking suck and be super, super slow when you first start the game. I think they need to completely revamp the entire early leveling experience. But the minute you get into the later game, and you realize just what the game is, and what it is at its core, and what it aims to be, and the complexity around it, you'll never complain about it again. If anything, you'll wish it's 2.75 seconds. It's called meld on skill / spell speed. Yeah, like even then, if you want to reduce it, just do that. I'm not waiting 2.5 seconds between abilities in my summoner rotation. Yeah, a summoner, dude. They have to focus for 2.5 minutes to do their rotation. I highly doubt they want it to be any longer, and they already are just tired by the time they're done. I mean, as Black Mage, I don't have a ton of off GCD, but that's what spell speed is for. Yeah, and with a Black Mage, you have a bunch of things to manage, and that's why you have those spell bars. It's all balanced. I feel like I looked up some trash Kotaku article on gripes with 14 and just sat them down without knowing a thing about the game. Yeah, that is really what it feels like. That really is what it does feel like. Let's go back to this. Watch the King's Avatar animation, and Final Fantasy XIV could learn a lot from it. Hope Final Fantasy one day will have combat. You know, we're not even gonna read that last part there before we watch this. What's it called? What did he say it is? King's Avatar animation. Let's look this up. King's Avatar animation. Okay. Oh, look at this. It's a Chinese fucking anime. Let's go back to what he said earlier, why don't we? Ah, yes, what was it he said? You were making a game into a dungeon crawl for anime-only fans. You know, he's basically shitting on the medium of anime and just people who watch anime, yet... Ah, yes, the King's Avatar animation. Ah, yes. Because, guys, look at this. I want FF14 combat to be like this. It's not already flashy enough. Why not just make it like this? You see... Oh, God. I can't even watch this shit. Hey, guys, you want an ability that does that? Do you want an ability that does that? You swipe, and it's like slow motion, and it just skims by the neck without cutting it. Fucking hell, dude. An MMO, but not an MMO. Let's make this MMO like an MMO anime. That's not unrealistic at all. Exactly. But then he said, hope Final Fantasy will one day have combat like Smite. I forget, what genre is Smite again? Smite genre. Multiplayer online battle arena. Well, he's got one MO. I think he's forgot the other M and he added a BA. Otherwise, we'd be talking about the same kind of game now, wouldn't we? Yeah. So back to what Sazong said. While your arguments are valid, always the nice one. Sazong. I just tell this guy he's a fucking idiot, because that's what he is. I have to disagree on your last statements. Okay, thank you. You know, he's being much more courteous than I am being. There is a casual category. I am, in fact, one of them. Oh no. The players he said don't exist actually exist, and he's talking to one. Impossible. I play to have fun after my 8 to 5 hour off, after my daily 8 to 5 office hour. And my mode of fun is to enjoy video games without having to compete. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if anything, that's most people. Video games are supposed to be something fun. If you want to be competitive, that's great. But at the end of the day, like, fucking hell, dude. I've used my competitiveness in my career. Also, there has never been any PvP Final Fantasy in PS2. Not even Final Fantasy X-2. All of them are PvE. So I question your definition of PvE and PvP. I question your definition of two very basic things. This is the kind of people we're dealing with. The only time FF has a PvP battle is in Dissidia in PSP. Even then, they are not mandatory and are more of a feature. It's still a very story-driven game, but now there's Dissidia NT, which is very heavy on PvP battle, but only a minority likes to the point that Square Enix stopped updating it. Bro. You looked up, he's my player, MOBA on MMO. Wait, I thought King's Avatar was the FF15 animation. No, that's the CG movie for FF15 is Kingslave. Now his brother animations, Loki, wow, yeah. There's a reason people say things like glamour's endgame because people find enjoyment in a lot of things. Exactly. Like, I couldn't care less about glamour. I think it looks cool, but I don't really care. I stick with the same thing for months and months and months on end, the one class I play, and I never change out of it. But for those who enjoy it, that's what they enjoy. For me, I just keep trying to get mounts. That's my thing. So this guy comments in response, yeah, hat. Ah, yes. I get hat you were saying, but still. The game's remade, I assume you meant to say are made, so we have fun and compete and try our best. The games are made so we have fun. This is what he says that's correct. Games are made for people to have fun with. And compete to try to be the best. Do you want to be the very best like no one ever was and is to catch them all your real test, buddy? Is that what you're going on? And he said con, Pete. I hope he's a con. Ay. It doesn't matter if you like PvE or PvP or he had ever. But going back to the, like, if you want to compete and try to be your best, good for you. I don't care. You still want to you still want to do what you can. Your best. Is that DPS matter? Supporting TESM, whatever. Casual is just a made-out term. No, it is not. Casual is a word, and it's been a word within the gaming space. Casual is a made-up term. Yeah, so is hardcore. So is competitive gaming. Everything's a made-up term when you think about it, dumbass. Everybody is casual. Considering in your last comment you said that casual players don't exist, shows that you don't even remember what you're saying. 10% OD player that wanna be their... Oh my god. Go beyond that'em, or players that invest a lot odd time or wow. I'm obsessed with glamour. I have over 30 glams on me at all times. Damn. Teach their own. But still. You said things, but I will ignore them. Literally. That's literally what it is. The spelling is degrading to the point of unreadability. True. It's like he's getting dumber by the second. Yeah. To each their own. I mean, personally, I don't see those kinds of things as additions as something bad, provided that the devs implement them well. 14 already has PvP mode. Might as well develop a more competitive mode for players who want to watch it. There is competitive feast, so it's already there. I personally am more interested in PvE, so if somehow the dev created an esport around it, I'd be down to watch it. Smiley. I mean, I am currently watching Drax E12S prog, and I'm laughing at their jokes and funny mistakes. I'd imagine PvE competition might look like that. And I just replied to the fucking idiot saying, 14 is a very different game to FF10/FF10-2, and its MMO counterpart, Final Fantasy XI. Each one of these games is very different in the way they play, what they're about, design philosophy, and baseline game systems. Like, that's what it boils down to. I mean, you guys can look up his YouTube channel. This guy, he does post. He has like 100 subscribers. I looked at some of his videos. That's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into that because that's pushing it to a point where I don't feel comfortable doing so. I feel like that at that point, that's just being an asshole. I'm just trying to have a discussion. Alright, let's just get back to the game. Holy shit, dude. Holy shit, dude. If I come across a piece of gear I can't bear to glam over because it looks good, yeah. Casual is a made-out term. We're all made... Here's the definition of hardcore player, different from a casual. Literally what he said. Yeah, exactly. I can't get over 14 isn't a PvE only. To prove my point, to look at this entirely different game. Yeah, in an entirely different fucking genre.